Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the FighterHeart podcast. I'm here with Gina's on a roll. Welcome, Gina.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So we're gonna hear about your FighterHeart story today. But before we do, just give us a little background about who you are, where you've grown up, a little story, and then get right into your FighterHeart story.
So I broke my neck actually when I was 18 years old. So I'm a full-time wheelchair user and quadriplegic, and that kind of derailed my life. I always wanted to be a chef, and I always wanted to be in a commercial kitchen. I just wanted to have a big dog and travel the world. I was in a kitchen at the time, and I was in culinary school, and I went out with a group of people from the kitchen, and we were all hanging out. And I was in a hot tub, and I got out of the hot tub, and because I didn't have a swimsuit with me and I was in a t-shirt, I was like, I don't want to jump in, I'll expose myself. And I was like, is it deep enough to dive? And he said yes, and it was 3 feet deep, and I had a compression fracture, and so that left me a quadriplegic. So no fine motor. Yeah, it definitely changed my life. No tricep use, and I'm paralyzed from the breast line down, and a full-time wheelchair user. So it definitely was a game changer at 18 years old when you're in culinary school and you're like, oh, I'm probably not going to do culinary school again. So I definitely didn't finish culinary school. I actually got my bachelor's in political science, and I got my Juris Doctor. So very similar.
What do you remember of the actual event itself?
I actually remember floating at the bottom of the pool, and I was like, oh, my hands were floating in front of me. I went into spinal shock, so nothing moved. And so when it happened, I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. Ironically, our bodies release like every endorphin that they have. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna die happy. Like, I was just like, all right. I was just kind of like calm, very calm. It was like the most serene moment of my life. And then they pulled me out and they said, call 911. I can't feel my body. I knew. I knew then. I was like, this is no
You
bueno.
didn't
So
even you didn't even lose consciousness.
no, I know, not the lucky ones. I was awake for the whole thing. Yeah, but no, actually, I'm glad I experienced all of it, because if I'm going to have this experience, I think I want all of it, not little fractions of it, I guess. So, yeah.
Before you jumped in, did you have any kind of like intuitional feeling like something bad
No,
was
I was young,
happening?
dumb, and partying.
Yeah,
Please.
you just did it. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. No, no.
Yeah.
However, but 5 days before my injury, I had a dream that I was paralyzed and like I couldn't get up out of bed. Yeah, which was weird. My sister was like, do you remember you talking about that? I was like, yeah, I do. So yeah, who knows?
Jeez. So do you remember being in the ambulance and like getting to the hospital? Like, can you walk us through the like a little timeline of what happened?
Yes. And then the ambulance showed up, and then they were like, possible C-spine. And then that's when I said the S word. I don't know if I can say it here. Happens.
You can say whatever you
And
want.
I totally have lived by that philosophy. They took me into the hospital. They did my first surgery, which was, it's a cervical. I have a cervical injury. I'm a C5-6 quadriplegic. So that means I broke right around here. And that meant I had to have a surgical spinal fusion. Well, the doctor that did my spinal fusion left a piece of my vertebrae on my spinal cord, and didn't know that for 2 months. So they also did an unnecessary exploratory surgery. They almost killed me in the hospital. So after 5 days, my parents were like, we got to get her out of here. And so they flew me out back to California to Santa Clara. And they didn't. I was like, can I get this collar off of my neck? I was so sick of it. And they said, well, let us do an x-ray. And the doctor came in. He goes, do you want the good news or do you want the bad news? And I'm like, is there good news? Like, I mean, like, do you have a cure? Like, like, he's like, no. I'm like, all of it's bad news. He's like, well, the good news is you get to get rid of your halo or your collar, but the bad news is you get a halo. And I'm like, what's a halo? And that's where they like drill in your head and you can't like move your head for 6 months. And he's like, you have to have surgery again. There's a piece of vertebrae in your spinal cord. So I went home for 3 months. I was in the hospital for 2.5 months. I came home the day before Christmas. I was on so many drugs from the hospital. I like passed out like through all of Christmas. Like like out. And then I ended up going and seeing that doctor once a month, and he was like, everything looks great. So 6 months later, I moved out to Arizona to start doing therapy. I started having pain. I go to get x-rays. I get a call at 7 p.m. on a Friday from the x-ray place. I'm like, that's not good. And they're like, Miss Schuh. I'm like, great. They're like, you need to see a neurosurgeon immediately. I had a syrinx on my spinal cord, but that was not actually the problem.
Would you have
Kind
on
of
your spinal cord? Sorry, I
like
didn't.
a syrinx. I know, right? I told you,
Yeah.
like, I've got a few things in my life. But it's a syrinx, which is cerebral spinal fluid on the spinal cord, and it can actually diminish the amount of function that you have. So it was concerning. So my parents were like, they happened to find this really great neurosurgeon in Beverly Hills at Cedars-Sinai. Surprise, surprise. And went out there. He did my surgery, and I left the room. And he's like, because he goes, I need more x-rays. So I go get the x-rays. And I was like young, and believe this or not, I was really talkative. Oh my God, I can't believe that. So yeah, and so I'm talking to these young guys in the x-ray tech, and I'm like, yo, I gotta go back to my appointment. Like, and I go back and I open the door, and my mom's crying. And I'm like, do I have to wear a halo? And he goes, no. And I said, can I pick my own color? And he goes, yes. And I go, what? My neck never fused. So I actually had 3 neck surgeries before I finally was actually fused. And then after that is when I got back into school, and then I realized, I was like, wow, people with disabilities get the shaft. So I got to do something about this. I can't sit back and take this. So here I am, causing a ruckus on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, so what's your goal? Like causing a ruckus?
Oh, I want to burn the world down. No, I'm just kidding. No, I really, no, I want to make a difference. Like, I feel like people with disabilities do not have a lot of representation when it comes to their personal civil rights. Like, we get trampled on, we get taken advantage of. I want to bring light to issues that exist. I want to expose companies that are doing egregious things. Like, I want to speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves, literally. Like, we have a lot of people in the community that are not cognitively capable of fighting for themselves. They need people like me, who is loud and obnoxious and questions everything. And I need 10,000 more of me to be doing the same thing. It's not going to be just me. Like, I do think, though, that every squeaky wheel out there can make a really big difference if we all kind of band together, if we, bring up the same issues, talk about airlines and travel and accessible transportation, care infrastructure. These are all issues that are impacting every single person.
What are some of these companies that you're talking about?
Oh my gosh, New Motion. I want to nail them to the cross. I actually really exposed their stuff about 3 years ago and was really pushing people to get to file complaints. And earlier this year, they got $7 million in sanctions from the federal government. And soon a class action lawsuit will be announced and people are able to join. They have done dirty things. I'm really upset. The other one, I just bought these new wheels that are power assist, and you get them through your insurance. And so I got them, and they said, oh, if you just scan them, there's an app that you can use, and it's got a few features that are, great to use. I get on there, you have to pay $250 to use the features. This is a medical
an app you download that
app. Yeah, they're high-tech wheels, I get it, but I just find that so absurd. I think people with disabilities, because these are necessities, we're forced to pay premiums, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah, they're probably just saying, well, they would probably just say, well, then you just have a regular wheelchair then.
Well, then don't use the features. They're not necessary, but they will greatly benefit your life.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not a Ring camera. I'm not paying for subscription. Jeez, it's a medical device, okay? You didn't already get $7,000 for the wheels, crazy.
So what does a day in your life look like a regular average day?
I wake up, I take a long time with my coffee and do my morning routine. I take a really long shower. I have a caregiver. I get up. I really love to cook. I'll run errands or do social things, or I recently started volunteering with a local business, and I'm like going to help him with his customer service. So like I'm excited about doing that. Volunteer is really important to me. I don't have like a 9 to 5 job, but if I have to, I do like real estate stuff. So if I have to, I go to city council meetings and things like that when I have to. But if I don't have to do any of that, I don't want to. But yeah, I love to travel too. Like, so a lot of times people will say, yeah, where are you? Gone.
Nice.
So
That's a good, sounds good to me.
yeah, I can't go.
Yeah. Taking it back a little bit. So was there a point where they were like, you're never gonna walk again, or did they say
Oh
that?
yeah, like from the beginning. When I was newly in like injured and I was in the ICU, this doctor came in and he goes, wow, you remind me exactly of the exact same patient I had when I was a brand new doctor, first patient ever, 18, diving. I didn't know anything. And I go, did he walk? And he goes, of course not. And I was like, and my sister was like, don't ever let that man in this room again, which rightfully so, because you don't know. He didn't know the extent of my injury. He didn't do my surgery, none of it.
Oh,
So
weird.
he didn't even have an updated x-ray, obviously, because he didn't see that there was still a piece of bone on my vertebrae. But unfortunately, he was correct. That being said, I never really felt like I was going to walk. I think I knew from the beginning, I'm like, this is now my lot in life. And like, it's not going to happen for me. And I need to make the best of it, because like, what else am I going to do? Just like off myself. That's no fun.
Yeah, you might as well play the game till it's over.
Yeah, at least until it's unbearable, right? Sure, it can be a little painful at times, but I like a challenge. I've always been someone, I love a challenge. So I look at it like, how can I outdo my disability? Like, how can I outshine it? How can I beat it? How can I
Yeah.
teach it that? So that's how I look at it.
The fighter heart spirit right there.
Hey, my mom would say she's a fighter.
What does it mean to you when you hear fighter's heart? Like, what is that definition for you?
Oh, just somebody who's like kind of unbreakable, someone who goes through constant adversity, not just a sprinkle here and there where you live a very privileged life. You have health, you have wealth, you have happiness, all of that. Maybe your car wash wasn't perfect, like, and you get upset about that. That stuff doesn't matter. It's the people that have truly challenging situations that other people look at and say, I mean, I have literally had people say to me, I would kill myself. Like, and to have that mentality that you're constantly facing it, and not just your own struggle, but like fighting society's, perspective, ideals, all of that. It's not just fighting to live, it's fighting to be alive, I think, like more than anything. Like, I just think that's it. Like, it's just like someone who isn't just going, they're doing.
You don't give up.
Nah, yeah, no. Unless it's uphill for a long time, then I'm like, can I get help? That is not my jam.
So, as art in the background, have you created these?
I did. I painted them myself. I got back into art when the pandemic happened. I swore off television. I didn't watch TV or Netflix for 2 months. And I just painted and I got back into it and I fell in love with it. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is where I'm supposed to be. That's my happy place. I like to create. I was always creative. I was always creating. And it gets me out of my head. I'll sit at the table and everything is silenced. I'm just listening to music and I'm painting no different than my able-bodied counterparts. They too would be sitting down and painting.
Yeah.
It's the great equalizer. And it's fun. I enjoy it. And my stuff is weird.
I see a theme. I can see a theme here.
There is a theme. There's a theme. Some of my stuff has other themes. This is the Broken Heart collection I'm currently working on. I'm really excited about. I'm going to be approaching some galleries to be showing. But yes, I'm very colorful, clean lines. It's all acrylic paint. It's all hand painted by me. I'm not doing, everyone's always like, cause I don't have fine motor. So you really paint that? I'm like, so I have to put out videos like, look, I do. But yeah, I love it. It's my happy place. It really
Wow.
is. Really.
It's
That
very
and cooking.
impressive.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will take that compliment and hold it dear.
As you should. So to take it back again, we keep going back and forth, but I remember you said you had the halo on. How long did you have that for? And then when did you finally get out of the hospital?
So I was injured October 11th in 2003. I got out of the hospital December 24th. So I was in for almost 2.5 months. And then I got out and I had the halo for 3 months. I would shower every other day because it took 3 hours to shower because I had to do it in sections because I couldn't get it wet right here. Nightmare. Yes. And so I got that off and it was like just, I never, there was this like Irish guy who was like, I just loved him. And he takes off the halo because this thing has been holding my head, for like literally 3 months. And I'm like, he takes it off and my head starts going like this. I'm just like, well, I have no neck muscles,
Yeah.
And he grabs my head and he goes, there you go, beauty. How you feel now? And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm not gonna move. I'm like, I'm not gonna move. And he's like, they'll come back in a couple of days. Like my neck muscles were gone.
Wow.
So like I felt like this, like I was like a newborn baby
I was just
without
gonna
neck
say,
muscles.
baby.
Like, don't pick me up quick. I'm like, like, so anyway, yeah, there were some weird experiences that I went through. And then I got out, started doing progressive physical therapy in the Phoenix area in Tempe. And that place whipped me into shape. I looked real nice, strong, and anorexic. Man, I was skinny back then. I'm like, yeah. But I did a lot of therapy and it helped me be more independent. So as a quad, I've got really great balance. I'm lucky. My tenodesis is really good because I had a tenodesis splint. I trained my hand. So that tenodesis is, I'll show you, like the tenodesis is the wrist function that helps me hold things. So I don't have any finger function. So
Wow.
I rely on just,
And
yeah.
you paint all that? That's crazy.
It's a computer. No, I'm just kidding. It's AI, just in real life now.
The
But yeah,
hand is crazy.
I know, right? So yeah, I like to challenge myself with straight lines and stuff, especially, quadriplegics have spasticity. So all my friends are like, I don't know how you do that. I can barely hold a pencil. I'm like,
Yeah.
a lot of medical marijuana helps.
I mean,
So
99% of people who have function of their hands can't do what you can do. So it's
well, thanks. There are so many people that are so much better than me, and even fellow disabled artists. I'm like, whoa.
the good thing about art is it's subjective. So
You're so right. So if you're a little bit of a dirty bird, you'll like my other lines.
do you have like a website or anything, or is it like it's social
Not
media?
right now because I've been working on my gallery, but if you go on my Instagram, a shop is going to be popping up soon. I'll have some prints available, of course. I'm working on apparel right now. So obviously, oops, I broke my neck is where I am. And if you like inappropriate dark humor, I'm your girl, bro. I guess I'm like getting so many trolls. I'm like, okay, I can handle that.
Awesome. All right, wait, before we go though, I want to know about your like rehab process. Like how did you actually gain back the function of your neck muscles? Like how do you build that?
Oh, well, I mean, my mom says my head's always on a swivel. I'm like watching people all the time. Not that I'm judging. Maybe not. But anyway, but I'm like, so over time, it just like got stronger. I got back in. I was going to the gym really regularly and kind of fell off the wagon during summertime here in Arizona. Nobody wants to leave the house. You're like, it's 120 outside. Suck. No, yeah. So like, I think keeping up the strength I still push a manual chair, but it's power assist. Like I'm very active. And then after I did rehab for 2 years and like extensive. So I believe, and I eat really healthy. I believe in eating healthy. our bodies, I still treat my body really well. Like, I love myself. I care so much. My mom always said that my vanity has kept me alive. And I'm like, you're probably right, Mom. But she's like, this girl, she's gonna take care of all of her stuff. Cause I'm like, yay, it's like, but it's true because doing those little things, self-care, it's easy to stop doing that when you don't always love your body. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much more important to do those things when you do struggle with that. So, damn straight, I'll go get my Dysport injections in my face so I look 5 years younger. I don't care what you say, but
What is it? Dysport?
gosh, I shouldn't have said that. Yeah.
Is that like Botox?
Right, yeah, kind of like Botox. All the girls are like, yeah, yeah, it is.
I didn't even notice.
Well, that's the point.
Works.
I'll tell my girl, she's killing it.
All right. I think we've touched it all. You did rehab, you said, for 3 months or 3 years?
No, 2 years.
2 years. And then what? Like, how did you know rehab was over? Like, how far do you go? Do you go?
I plateaued. I wasn't going to get any more function or recovery. Like, my injury level is my injury level. I'm a complete injury. It's not going to change. So I just learned all the tools that I needed. And then I was in school at the time too. So I'm picking up huge bags of, 20 pounds of books and stuff. So I had my own work regimen. Yeah. So like, I still, just staying active, I like to get out. I go in nature, vitamin D, the sun. People don't understand, like, we really truly need all these things. A lot of times being in the chair, I'll catch myself. I'm like, have I gone out in 2 days? Have I just been painting for 2 days? Like Gina. So I make myself go outside and I do those little things. It's so important for ourselves to take care of ourselves, and then we can take care of others.
What's the biggest way you've changed from before and after your accident, aside from physically, obviously?
It's really humbled me a lot, I think. I'm a spicy senorita. I really am, but I think it's made me more empathic and understanding and caring. I always really was not, I cared about people, was generous and things like that before, but this has given me a perspective that's so much deeper and so much more real, that now I look at life just so different. I have a lot of patience now, a lot more patience than I did when I was younger. I'll tell you that.
Awesome. That sounds good to me. Before we go, do you have any last words for people that, unfortunately may have gotten in an accident as well, diving into the pool, same thing? Like, what would you say to them for any words of advice?
Drink water, stay away from sugar, do skin checks, and sleep on your stomach. Those are my things. And eat fiber, damn it. Gosh.
Well, that's advice for anyone, no?
Yeah, but for spinal cord injuries, like, check your skin. A lot of people, they don't like to look at their bodies, and before they know it, then they have like a pressure sore and it's like too late and they're stuck in bed for 6 months. Like, there's so many things. Secondary conditions for spinal cord injuries are so preventable, and so I think that's a big one. Like, don't hate yourself so much that you make your life worse. That's the thing. So
awesome. Is there anything you didn't say that you'd like to say?
No, gosh, no, I talk too much. What are you talking about? You should have shut me up 10 minutes ago.
All right. Thank you so much. What's your last name? I don't have.
Schuh, like on your foot. S-C-H-U-H. Gina Schuh. S-C-H-U-H.
And your social media?
Oops, I broke my neck.
Awesome. All right, Gina, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone else, thank you so much for listening to another FighterHeart podcast. We'll, of course, be back next week. Thank you.